It's here.
It's finally here. Adventist Television Network is here. The one-stop network for Christians or anyone wanting to learn how they can develop a more meaningful relationship with
People
Christ.
just love to travel.
Tune in to Central
Often to
Cable
new
for
and
daily
faraway
programs
places.
on health and
And
wellness,
that means there's
current
been a
events,
huge growth in air
relationships,
travel in recent
spiritual
years.
growth, and of course,
Every day on
musical
average,
praise,
more than
all
10 million
catering to
people
our
fly.
local urban
That's getting
audience.
up
The book of
towards 4
Revelation
billion
depicts God's
passengers a
people
year,
as flying in the midst of heaven
to about
as
half
angels,
the world's
proclaiming
population.
the everlasting
So
gospel.
it's not surprising
ATN
that
will
travel
allow
and
you
tourism
to
is one of
reach
the
the
world's
world
largest
with God's
industries.
message and reap the harvest.
It's worth about
but more,
$10
it will help you to
trillion
grow
a year.
as a disciple. It
Yes,
will keep you
we
connected with your
humans
church.
love to
Above all
travel.
things, it will
We're
prepare
always
you
on the move,
to meet Jesus
going
when he
here,
comes.
going
ATN
there,
is a
going
not-profit
everywhere it
initiative.
seems.
If you want
We're
to
a
do
mobile
your
lot,
small
that's
part
for
in
sure.
reaching people with the good
People
news of
are
Jesus,
truly
you can
going
partner with
places,
ATN by
aren't
offering
they?
your generous
But
tax-deductible
where are we
gifts.
really going?
Adventist
As
Television
we
Network
speed
is
from
an
place
official
to
partner
place,
of 3ABN's
at rates
Dear to Dream Network.
inconceivable to people 100
Keep
years
up with
ago.
special services,
Sure, we
programs,
might know
and
where we're going
events
short
brought to you
term,
by the
to
local
work,
Seventh-day
to pick
Adventist
up the
Church
kids,
on
to
Central
the gym,
Cable and
on an
streaming
overseas
on
holiday.
Central Belize Mission
But
Facebook
we're
and
all
YouTube
on a
pages.
far greater
Brothers and
journey,
sisters,
the
we are
journey
looking
of
forward
life.
for your
And
financial
where on
support
life's
for the
incredible
Adventist
journey
Television
are we
Network.
going long term? And I mean long term. Close to the heart of Washington, D.C., capital of the United States, there's one special place, a sacred place, where a lot of people on their journey ended up. A place very similar to where we're all going to end up as well. So stay tuned, because in this program called The Unknown Soldier, Known But to God, we're going to look at the question of whether this really needs to be our final stop.
This morning, we have a very special guest in our midst who's going to be talking about a very interesting topic. But before we go into that, we just want to encourage our viewers out there. whether
For
you're
the
watching
first
on
time in
Facebook,
human history,
YouTube, to go
the
ahead,
Earth's population
like
is more
button,
urban than
share,
rural.
and also click
For the
on
first time
notifications so
ever,
that whenever we go
more than
live,
half of us on this
you are
planet
able to
are
join us.
city
Also
dwellers.
for those that
More
are
and more
watching us
people
on
are
social
leaving the
media,
countryside
also
and
never
moving to
forget
the
to
cities.
Go ahead
And cities are
continue to
growing
watch
by
it. Share with
60
your
million
friends.
people a
Send,
year, over
your
1
WhatsApp
million
messages to us so that
every
we
week.
know that you are joining
Yes,
us.
we
This
love the
morning we
cities.
have Dr.
Each
Hugh
one has
Sanchez
its own
with us,
character and beauty.
retired
Each one is
psychologist,
unique.
And also a
Some
very
cities have an
friendly,
amazing history,
doctor
a
to the
long
Seventh-day
history,
Adventist Church.
and a very
We,
influential
had
history
Dr.
as well,
Hugh Sanchez
such as
on
Rome.
1854, and he has
Talk
a
about
vast
a long
knowledge
and
of,
influential
things
history.
when it comes to
It's
health.
believed
And so
people
this
were living
morning
in
he's
the
going to be
area
joining
of
me
Rome
here today to
1,000
talk
years
about
before
prostate
Christ.
health.
Of course,
Morning,
by the
Doc. How are
first
you doing?
century BC,
Thanks.
Rome had become the most powerful empire
Doc,
of
you
the
know,
ancient
a lot
world.
of the time,
First as a republic,
we talk so
and then
much about
after the
women's
revolution, the Rome of
women
the Caesars.
they like to go to the doctor. They like to
When
get
I think of
checkups. They
Paris,
always, you know,
I
up
often
to
think
date
of the
with their
famous
different,
Montmartre district.
regular,
I can
checkups,
imagine in my
tests, so
mind's
that they
eye
do. But
some
the
of its
men,
famous
Doc,
painters, Pablo
men, they're
Picasso
the ones
and
that,
Vincent van
give you
Gogh
trouble to
wandering
go to the
its
doctor whenever
streets.
they're in pain.
But
I don't know if
centuries
it's a
ago,
macho thing,
Paris was
but
the
they said,
center
"No,
of
I
a
can
pretty
handle it."
formidable
It's
military
only
power,
when it's their
both
last
in
resort,
Europe
you
and
will see them
overseas.
going to the doctor.
All you
So
have to
this
do,
program
for
today is
instance,
especially
is
for
think
those
of the
men
armies
who
of
have
Napoleon marching through Europe in the early 19th century and putting
Because
fear
at the
and
end of this
trepidation
program, we want them
in
to
the
know
old
that
monarchies.
Their health is just
Then, not that
as the woman's health. So let's get right into it, Doc. What's the role of prostate gland? Sorry, what is the role of the prostate gland?
In your opening statement, you said that women tend to be more doctor-friendly, and men tend not to associate themselves with doctors. And it's a cultural mindset throughout the Caribbean. I was even say throughout the world, men tend not to be the doctor-going type of person. Whereas women, for some reason, maybe they are just wired to love doctors. They go to doctor for everything. And in fact, the system is designed to care for women. as I had told you earlier, the only time a male is being examined, really and truly, is when he's a baby. Thereafter, the male never sees a doctor until they are quote-unquote dying. Whereas women will see them growing up, menarche, pregnancy, thereafter. So women are always in the care of doctors. Men tend not to be doctor likable. They stay far from doctors. I don't know if they're scared of doctors. I don't know. But it's just a man thing. But in regards to the male gland, the prostate gland, that disease is, I won't say becoming more common, because we have been aware of it from time immemorial. Your grandfather, as you know, always smell a pea. When you go visit him, the place always smell a pea. Because men, as they get older, the gland get bigger, and as a result, they end up with what we call stoppage of water. And they cannot empty the bladder well. And the more they strain, the less they pee. And when them stop straining, then the pee just trickle down. That's why they always wet and smell a pee when they get old. That's a feature of aging. And the prostate gland, right, is, as I said before, a male gland located just beneath the bladder. Right? So you have your pelvis, and you have the bladder like a balloon on top, and the prostate gland is right there, the size of a walnut. But I will see it more like a Hammonds. You know the Hammonds? You have small Hammonds, you have big Hammonds. It's the size between one small Hammonds and one big Hammonds. That's the normal size. And the urethra, that is the tube that goes from the bladder to the outlet, the penis, passes through it. So when the gland gets enlarged, it squeezes the passage and results in obstruction. Right? And that obstruction have its complications. This is usually seen in elderly men, not young men. Right? As you get older, it gets bigger. Okay? And the complications will be what we call obstructive uropathy. Because the urine cannot come out. It stagnates. As it stagnates, stasis results in infection. So the urine becomes infected. That's why urine smells stink. And as a result of not emptying that bladder, the pressure builds up and it goes up and it backtrack. So you have the bladder, you have the tubes that go from the bladder to the kidneys. We call it ureter, those two tubes, and the kidneys are here. And what happens is that you cannot empty the bladder, so the pressure builds up and it comes back up into the ureter, into the kidneys. And with time unchecked, as a complication, you end up with infection in the kidney. You end up with damaged kidney, result in high blood pressure. Yes? And also, you can end up with serious infection and sepsis, which means you can die. All right? So that is just the importance of that gland that is located in men just beneath the bladder.
So if I understand clearly what you're saying, Doc, you're saying that this gland is important for the overall health of the men, especially when it comes to the passage of urine. But does it also play a role when it comes to their sexual health?
Of course. We're coming there.
Okay.
So that gland is a special gland because its function is just basically to make the milieu, the semen, for the sperm to become activated. Right? So the gland is important.
It's very important.
Right? That gland produces the liquid medium into which the sperm can become activated and it sort of swim and going where they let it go. So that is the function of the prostate gland. But because of its location, because of its blood supply, it is prone to diseases, namely growth problem, infection problem. And the infection problem with the prostate is serious because the blood supply is tenuous, and as a result, antibiotics don't go there readily. So patients who have infection of that gland, which you call prostatitis, need to be treated for an extended period of time. Very important, because if you know, bleeders have this disgusting behavior of self-medicating. They go to the doctor.
Very true.
Well, no, they go to the drugstore, and unfortunately we don't have good regulation. And they just give a complaint, and we just give them medicine, antibiotics, whatever it is. And we may not give it strong enough for long enough, right? Really, when you have prostate inflammation, the treatment must be at least for a month of medication, right? So this leave 1 week and 10 days ain't cutting it. And resultant will be chronic prostatitis. So you go from acute prostatitis to chronic prostatitis, where you always have lower belly button pain and burning when you pee, and you're just not feeling well, fever, you can't explain the fever. Those are some of the complications we can get with the prostate gland, beside the growth problem, which we'll discuss later on.
Okay, I noticed you mentioned, you touched on some of the conditions or related disease when it comes to the prostate. So you have prostatitis, and then you have prostatic hyperplasia. That's the word I was looking for. So what's the difference between the two?
Oh, big difference, big difference. As I alluded to initially, one is infection. And I give you some of the risk factors for the infection. The gland is so big, the bladder cannot empty, and as a result, you get stasis with infection, and that cycle continues. Right? That is just one complication of the gland. Right? The other complication or problem with the gland is it can enlarge in its growth, which is normal. It's under hormonal influence, testosterone, and every month it grows, it grows, it grows from a little boy to a young man, to an adult, to an old man, and it grows. For some family, because of genetic predisposition, it grows more than others, right? And when it reaches a particular size, it may start causing signs and symptoms, right? As you know, the prostate gland, in our discussion, it has the two lobes, left and right lobe, central, and sometimes there is what we call a median lobe, which is the lobe at the bladder neck, where it behaves like a valve, right? Sometimes the gland is not enlarged, it's just that the median lobe is just significantly enlarged. And the median lobe is where the urethra passes through. So it be like a flap where when you strain, it squeezes down on the opening, and then the urine can't come out. And when you stop strain, then it lifts back up, and then the urine comes out again. So the median lobe could be a problem. And the growth of the gland is under the hormonal influence of testosterone.
And as we're on that right there with the enlarged prostate, you know, tell me if we're wrong here. You know, some people believe, Doc, that if they have an enlarged prostate, they are more at risk of, you know, developing prostate cancer. Is there any correlation to that?
No. There are two different diseases. Okay? One is central, the other is peripheral. Cancer is peripheral. Central, near the urethra, is where the hyperplasia or the hypertrophy or the BPH occurs. Right? the periphery is where the cancer occurs, right? And the big gland has nothing to do with cancer. Cancer is cancer, all right? And this is where we come to the important investigation of DRE, which is digital rectal examination. That's where a doctor will put a finger in the anus and will examine that gland through the anus, because the anus rests right on the gland, on the prostate, and with the finger, well-trained finger, we can examine that gland. Normally, it should be smooth like the tip of your nose. It should be smooth and regular. When it's rough like sandpaper or like cobblestone, something is wrong. And if it's hard, that is bad news. Because cancer is usually small. It's not a big gland. It's a normal gland. But it's hard, craggy, and very, very irregular when you examine it.
Okay.
But that's advanced. That's, when you have that, it's time to die.
Oh, okay. So
Right.
we
So
don't,
you find it
we
before
don't
it
want,
happens.
yes, we don't want
Yes?
to go to that. And in the second part of, for those of you who are joining us, in the second part, he's going to be doing some demonstration
Yes.
and showing you what prostate gland looks like
Yes.
when it goes to that first stage. But before we go to that, Doc, let's talk a little bit about statistics. In the
Statistics,
sense, yes, in the sense that we want our viewers here to understand the importance of this topic that we are in.
Okay.
When it comes to prostate cancer, is there a specific age group, or is
Yes.
there any genetics or any race or diet related issues that would cause a person to be more at risk than another person?
All right, race has a lot to do with it. In our training, we have said that the black race is affected with prostate cancer more than the white race, which is corollary to the testicular tumors. The white man is more prone to testicular tumors than the black man. Those are race things that we have observed epidemiologically as what is fine. But basically, for statistical purposes, it's the commonest cancer in men, right? And it throughout the Caribbean, and it tends to present late. And present late means that it is advanced cancer, which means that clinically it has gone, right? As you know, cancer is stage 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Stage 4 means it gone. Gone meaning it has gone to the bone, it has gone to the brain, it has gone to the liver, it gone. That's stage 4.
Spread.
It has spread, right? And that is death. We would like to find it before it reaches that stage. And to that end, we have models to try and improve early detection. As we have said it from a Cancer Society point of view, we have said that early detection is your only protection. That was one of our team in 1996 when I first came back. All right? Early detection is your only protection. So we need to screen for it early. The age group that is affected, mostly, I would say between 55 and 65 is when it presents. But in our training, we are told that as you get older, the risk of cancer of the prostate increases. Which means, statistically, they use the word, at age 60, there's a 60% chance of having cancer of the prostate. At age 70, there's a 70% chance of having prostate. At age 80, there's an 80% chance of having prostate. At 90, 90% chance of having prostate. 100, you literally have prostate cancer. But the thing you need to remember is that having cancer and dying from cancer are two different things. Because you can have cancer, but it may not be aggressive. It's just an incidental finding. As I alluded to, as you get older, you have it. Those are just, use the word indolent, just cancer just because you get old. When a young person have cancer, it is generally aggressive. Right? My uncle died from prostate cancer at age 58. Right?
Yeah.
So, in that case with a family history, you need to start doing screening at least 10 years before that age. So the normal screening age, like say 55 to 65, you need to start from 45 in that setting to try and pick it up early. And for men, the screening is a blood test. We call
So pretty simple.
the prostatic specific antigen, PSA.
Yes.
Right? With technology, there's a kind of permutation and combination, and man, I tell you, because you have different, you have what we call the prostatic, the PSA velocity, and the absolute PSA. The gland normally produces the PSA, right? So you do the blood test, the PSA will be there. It's the value that you worry about, right? Normally it should be less than 4. Less than 4. So if you have 8, you don't mean you have cancer, but you have an elevated PSA. There are many reasons why you have elevated PSA. If you do an examination, you have heart bump, heart bump means constipation, it will be elevated. And also, if you have infection, it will be elevated. If you have cancer, it will be elevated too. So what we as doctors do as a gross thing is to do what we call the changing prostate level. So if I do it January here, and it's 4. I did it in June, it is 6. I do it in December, it is 8. That's a bad sign.
It's going up.
That is a bad sign. That's spelled CA. But the only way you can diagnose cancer is by looking at tissue. A biopsy is mandatory. That's the gold standard. So your doctor, your urologist who take care of you, will observe you, maybe give you treatment and everything, and observe you, advise you, and repeat it, and you'll say, you know what, I'm not happy with this results. It's going up, it's going up. We need to do a biopsy. They might do an ultrasound, and they might localize and think. They might do biopsies, right? And then it will be sent to me to an analysis. I look at the microscope, and I will say, well, yes, you have cancer, you don't have cancer. And then depending on the stage, early, late, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Then it will determine what kind of treatment you want to receive and what your outcome will be.
Okay, so 2 things I pick up there, Doc. You're saying that one, if you have a history of someone having in your family, then you are likely to be more at risk. So your early screening has to happen. 10
years earlier than the routine.
Than the normal person.
The normal screening
and another thing I heard you saying is screening. Screening is very important. And before a break is coming up here, but before we go into the break, I want you. Earlier we were discussing a little bit, and there's a big significance, or there's a big difference when it comes to screening and diagnosing.
Of course.
We had mentioned already that men don't like to do those regular checkups. Is there any early signs or symptoms warning that prostate cancer would give, or it will only be detected through a proactive screening?
I don't like the word prostate cancer. I've heard the word prostate disease.
Okay.
All right, because the prostate disease has many signs and symptoms. The prostate cancer is a little bit more advanced, as I said, the craggy prostate when they do the PR, or the changing titer with the PSA, right? And that will be occurring, and you'll have no signs and symptoms, all right? But as a general rule, the prostate gland may become ill, and you will present with maybe a discharge, penile discharge, yes. You may present with burning when you pee. You may present with just deep heat in that area, just deep heat at the base of the penis, deep heat, uncontrolled heat. That's the gland inflamed, right? And those are, that will be the burning. Then the other signs and symptoms you'll get is that you want to go and pee every minute.
Often.
You want to go and pee every minute.
Emergency.
And then you get a burning. And then when you pee, only a little bit come out. Little bit. Right? We call frequency, urgency, those terminology we use for the prostate symptomatology. And based on those, then we interpret and we evaluate, and then we give treatment accordingly.
Right, and so to our viewers out there, so when they before these symptoms come, when these symptoms come, and then you go to the doctor,
that's diagnostic. That's not screening anymore.
But if you're going proactively because of different risk
because
factors
you are being told,
then you are doing screening.
Screening is examination or evaluation of an asymptomatic person who has no sign and symptom. Just go and do a routine check. As health conscious people, we should do our routine checks every year or every birthday. That is, you need to have your own rhythm, but you need to know who you are. Health is our greatest wealth, and we need to take care of it. And the best way is prevention is better than cure.
Rightly said, Doc. At this moment, we're going to take a quick break. We encourage you to stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Hi, my name is Amini Anderson, and I'm the General Manager for our Yadpa bookstore here in Belize City. At our bookstore, we cater at offering books that can help you live a healthier lifestyle. We offer books that can help your marriage and your family life to be even more sweeter. We haven't forgotten the kids, we have books for them, and we also have books that will help you grow in your spiritual life. We're located inside the headquarters of the Belize Union of Seventh-day Adventists that is located on 3A Street, Kings Park. Our phone numbers are 223-3048, or you can get us on our cell number at 660-2378. Our working hours are from 8 to 12:15 from Monday to Thursday, 1 to 4:15, and on Friday, we're open from 8 to 12. You can also find us on Facebook. Our name for our page is Yadpa Belize. ATN has partnered with us, and for every purchase made using the code ATN21, a proceed will be going to them to help them further in their ministry as well. So feel free, come visit us. I'm sure you're going to find something that will be a blessing to you all. Thank you.
These are indeed troubling and uncertain times. The COVID-19 pandemic rages while the death toll surges. Many lives have been lost to violence in the streets. Homes have been terrorized with domestic abuse. Natural disasters in the form of storms and fires have devastated our land, a constant reminder of the times in which we live. Jesus is soon to come. Here in the Belize Central Mission, our mandate remains the message to all the world. In the midst of all these tragedies, we have not relented from our mission of preaching, evangelism, and ministering to our youth and community. The Central Belize Mission has been blessed to reach great milestones to this end, including the launch of our very own Adventist television network, which now serve as one of the mediums in carrying the gospel to all the world. ATN has allowed us to continue this work by streaming various spirit-filled programs via its Facebook and YouTube account, as well as on cable TV. This has allowed many individuals to have come into a saving relationship with Jesus Christ through the virtual evangelistic campaigns and revivals. As we contemplate these breakthroughs, we want to encourage everyone, whether you are a regular member, visiting online viewer, or a community member, to double up with God in your Christian stewardship. God has been faithful to us, and His mercies are renewed each day. We may have fallen short in our faithfulness in the giving of our time, talent, or finances, but now is an opportune time for us to double up with God. Let's double up with Him by returning what is right in tithes and in our love gift offerings. Contact your local church pastor or church treasurer to find out how you can give. If you have been blessed by the ministry at ATN and would like to partner with us, you can join the ATN family by giving your charitable gifts. Giving to ATN can be done in multiple ways. On your tithes envelope, there is a designated line for ATN. You can place your donations along with your tithes and offering. sign up to become a monthly or a one-time sponsor using the ATN donor pledge form that is provided in a pinned post on our Facebook page. After you sign up, we will contact you to make arrangements of how you can make your donations. You can mail your checks to House B Upper Flat 374 Mayflower Crescent, Lake Garden, Ladyville Village, Police District, or drop by our studio on weekdays Mondays to Thursdays between 9 to 5 p.m. at our ATN office or Central Belize Mission office. You can also make direct transfers marked for ATN via online banking or in-person deposits to the following bank account number. For our international donors, you can make your donations via the PayPal app or by sending donation to BZ Adventist TV by means of the following link, using your PayPal account or your credit and debit card. Thank you for your generosity, and we pray God's richest, most abundant, and continuous blessings on you and on the Belize Adventist Television Network as we seek to engage in meaningful, relevant, and life-changing ministry in today's world.
Persons at risk of becoming seriously ill from the flu or the coronavirus, people over the age of 60, persons with medical conditions they already had, such as diabetes or heart disease or conditions that has made their immune system low, such as HIV or cancers. At this time, there is no vaccine or treatment. Serious cases may need oxygen or ventilator support. Be caring and show support for your elderly loved one during this time. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
Welcome back to Defining Your Health. This morning we have Dr. Hugh Sanchez, the biopsy doctor in our midst, talking about prostate health. He's married to the lovely Carla Sanchez.
That's my wife.
And this morning we've been talking to Dr. Sanchez about the importance of taking men, specifically taking care of their prostate health. We spoke a little bit on what the gland is, the importance and functionality of it, and also we spoke a little bit of some of the different conditions or disease that can affect these glands. Before we go into our second half of our segment for today, we just want to encourage you to share and like our Facebook and YouTube page, and also for those of you who are on our channel, share it with someone so that they can tune in and learn from this program. Also, as we go into the second part of our segment for today, we're going to go into some demonstrations, so we're just letting you know.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Viewer discretion is advised. And so, let's go into it then, Doc.
Yes. As you had mentioned, being the biopsy doctor, I have been employed by the ministry from 96 to 2017 when I retired. And during that time, we see myriads of biopsies from Damriga, Balmapan, Orange Walk, Belize City, private sector as well. And I used to have my little stats that used to determine the 5 commonest cancers, right? And heading that list for me, in my experience, would have been cervical cancer, female, breast cancer, and then we have a toss-up with the colon cancer. In men, it's always prostate, colon, and somewhere you find lung cancer. But certainly, cancer of the cervix, breast, colon are among the number 5 common cancers in Belize, and in men we throw in the prostate gland. We do have other cancers, the leukemias, the lymphomas, the lymph glands cancer, and sometimes we have some little rarities, right? Namely, endometrial cancer. That's within the 5 though, right? Ovarian cancer, right? Pancreatic cancer, lung cancer, voice box cancer, yeah, and rarely you get melanomas. That is cancer of the, like what had killed Bob Marley. The big tour was cancerous with melanoma. I see that infrequently, not now and then. But certainly, commonly, would have been the cervix and the breasts and the prostate. And in regards to the prostate, the stats are not very accurate because people have the option of using Merida, using Chetomal, using Guatemala, Melchor, using America for their biopsy analysis. So we don't really have the accurate, and this is why from the Belize Cancer Society we have been advocating for the cancer registry, where no matter where you come from, everything must be documented, so we have a true picture as to the magnitude of the disease. But it seems to be the hardest thing to get activated or implemented, despite many attempts. So
in your time,
in my time, yes, I was coming to that. So in my time, I would have seen requests, for the year. The most I have seen for the year would have been about 17 cases for the year for prostate. Most time is between 7 and 10. Most years, 7 and 10, 7 and 10. Right? And when Dr. Garbutt was alive, that particular year we got about almost 20. We pick up a lot.
And these cases, Doc, these were early detection or advanced?
They would have been, I won't say advanced, but they were confined to the gland, so they were still stage 1. Yeah, so they have been early. They have been early, right? They have been early, yeah.
Okay, so we have something here, Doc. Explain to us what we have here.
This is a specimen I retrieved from a post-mortem, okay, years ago. And what was interesting was that the male gland was enlarged. And
so here we're looking at the prostate gland.
Right. So this is the prostate gland here. This is the prostate gland. I mentioned earlier about the median lobe, which is that little gland in there. That is the median lobe. And all of this is the prostate gland. Right? This is the urinary bladder, which is supposed to be thin like a balloon.
Okay.
Thin like a balloon, but this is thick like canvas.
And you had mentioned the gland itself is supposed to be like the size of a...
We're coming to that. Let's maybe stick to finish off with the bladder.
Okay.
Why it is so thickened, because the bladder is made up of muscle. But because the muscle has to work to try and empty the bladder, but the obstruction, it cannot pass through. It cannot pass through. The muscle become hypertrophied. Like when you lift barbell, you get muscles. The same thing, and so the bladder get very thickened, as you can see here. And this is a complication of prostate enlargement. All right. I mentioned that the prostate gland is about the size of the almond, and this is the size almost of a small orange. Right. This is the prostate gland.
So maybe you can point it towards our camera.
It has what are called nodules. See, 1 nodule, 2 nodule, 3, multiple nodules, and we call it nodular prostatic hyperplasia.
Okay, yes, like what we spoke about earlier.
Or the next colloquial word is BPH, benign prostatic hypertrophy. But it's really actually hyperplasia, because it's more cells than size, okay? But what is important here is the complication I mentioned with the bladder becoming trabeculated, thickened, and the residuum result in stasis with infection of the urine, which can back up into the ureters, into the kidneys, and give you kidney infection. Right? I mentioned about the screening for prostate disease, and I mentioned about the DRE, digital rectal examination. So this is the top of the blood. This is the top. This is where the bladder is. This is the prostate beneath it. That's the prostate beneath it. And this is the back. This is the rectum. So when you do the DRE, you put your finger into the anus, and you can feel the prostate gland. You can see how big this gland is. Oh, sorry. You can see how big this gland is. You see how far the finger can spread across. Now it should only be right here, so.
Okay.
But you see how big it can spread. So this is a massively enlarged gland, right? And normally it should be about 30 grams. 15 to 30 grams is normal weight. Sometimes we get them up to 200 grams. I mean, massive prostate gland. And those have their complications with, I used the word before, obstructive uropathy. Yeah? So that is for the prostate gland, and you can see that the disease affects the tissues near the urethra, right? So the urethra is in the middle here, and the disease is here. Now, when you have prostate cancer, it's on the periphery, it's outside here. It's on the outside rim of the gland. Not the gland proper, it's the rim of the gland. And that is where the rim of the gland become hard and craggy.
Not smooth enough.
So when you do it, it's not smooth because this is smooth. This is really smooth. And that is rough. But you won't have prostate cancer for demonstration because you will die and we'll just let you die in peace. Okay? So this is the prostate gland, and this is an example of BPH, benign prostatic hypertrophy, or more scientifically, benign prostatic hyperplasia. Yeah? And of course, the use of the word benign is redundant because hyperplasia is benign.
Yes.
So, just semantics.
Okay, and this
Then,
one here?
This is the gland now that is removed through the urethra. We call it TURP. Transurethral resection of the prostate. This is where they use a special instrument and they go up through the penis and they just shell and shell out this gland. And we get these chips. We call it prostatic chips. All right? And that's a treatment for the gland that relieves the obstruction, and then you can pee freely.
Okay, so that will help with one of the conditions that you had mentioned.
About the obstructive uropathy, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's what, as far as demonstration goes.
Okay, and to our viewers at home, I know that may have been very
grotesque for them, yes.
Yes, uncomfortable for you to view, but then you wanted to do this talk because you wanted them to understand
what is being done and the purpose for what it is being done for. And as one writer says, don't focus on the uncomfortableness. Focus on the purpose and the knowledge you'll gain by having it done. Right? You can save your life.
But this is when it goes to the when you don't follow and do those screening that you were talking about. These are the conditions that will come after that.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit prevention here, Doc.
Prevention. All right. Well, as we said, health is the greatest wealth, and we must take care of it. And the best health rules or doctors is embodied in the acronym New Start. In Spanish, Adelante. And it's N for nutrition, E for exercise, W for water, S for sunshine, T for temperance, A for air, R is for rest, and T is for trust in God. And that acronym, if it's carried out, promote health. And with it, a healthy body is an immune builder and a protector from diseases.
So when it comes to the prostate cancer, it's just like any other cancer.
Yeah.
You would have to, improve your health, improve your diet,
healthy.
what you put in.
Yeah.
Are there any specific fruits or veggies, Doc, that could help or assist?
Well, just be healthy is all that matters. But studies have shown that two in particular, tomatoes, right, satay, and pepitos. We can see the name again.
Makobe seed.
Makobe seed or pumpkin seed.
Pumpkin seed.
Yeah, that promotes prostatic health.
And that's two products that is local.
Locally, yes. So
no problem
we
for
have
the men
no
to
problem
get.
with that. No problem.
Okay.
So that is in regards to prostate health. But general health, improve your immune system, and cancer is a dysfunction in the immune system. So if your immune system is tip-top, then you can take care of cancer. We find cancer every day.
Right.
But because we have an effective policing system, the immune system, that is tapa-tapa, then you can nip them in the bud. But if the system is not that refined and we abuse our bodies in terms of lack of rest and indulgence in a lot of fatty food and salty food and greasy food, then you put a toll on your body and the immune status falls and anything can happen. So the key thing is health. Maintain a healthy lifestyle.
And then
right? Lifestyle. Healthy lifestyle.
And then you will
go
be
to bed
less
early.
likely prone to get these.
Drink enough water. Eat a balanced meal. Preferably wholesome. Preferably plant-based. As much as possible, try and stay clear of animal produce. Try and stay clear of refined products. Try and stay clear of things modified by man. Stick to what God make. It's better to eat boiled corn than cornflakes. It is more healthier.
It's in its natural form.
So that's what I'm trying to get at. Wholesome in its natural form. And if you maintain that and exercise, you don't go join no gym. Just keep moving. Keep active. And walking is the best exercise. Right? Swimming is good. Cycling is good. Right? Gym is okay if you can afford it. But no excuse. Just keep being active. So your balanced meal, your exercise in terms of activity, water. You need water. You don't need no tea, you don't need no Coke, you don't need no soft drink, you don't need no juice. Water. Plain water. And the philosophy is basically a glass of water every hour while you're up and about. So if up for 12 hours, 12 glasses of water. Or you must drink enough water such that your pee is the color of the water you drink. So you know you're well hydrated. That will prevent headache. That will prevent kidney stone. That will prevent problem with your skin. A hydrated body is a healthy body.
Simple thing as drinking some
Just
water.
be healthy. And stay clear of them soft drink. A soft drink is 8 teaspoons of sugar. There is no need for that sugar. Yeah? Then sunshine. Well, we are blessed, so we have too much sunshine.
That's what we have out here
and
right now.
Temperance, well, moderation in what is good. Abstinence from what is bad. All right? And then rest. We need rest.
To rejuvenate our bodies every day.
We need rest. And we need to get out of these gadgets. We need rest. And the studies have shown that the rest, the sleep before midnight is twice what it is after midnight. So if you go to bed at 9, for example, the sleep from 9 to 12 is equivalent to 6 hours of sleep, compared between 12 and 3.
Right.
So as the old adage is, early to bed, early to rise, make a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Right.
That's why British people live so long. Because they're active, they cut their plantation, they drink enough water, they up early,
they eat what
and
they
they go
grow.
down early, and they eat things natural.
Right.
And they live to 104, and they just keep on living, and their brains function. Because no Alzheimer's, they're functioning well.
Rightfully said, Doc. And
Yes.
as we're winding down here, Doc, I want to ask you, what's your takeaway to those of our viewers who are out there? This program was centered around prostate health, you know, to give our men the attention that they need and to encourage them to go and seek these screening and to make sure that they're properly taking care of themselves so that they can detect anything. So as we wind down here, Doc, is there anything that you would like to say to our viewers, the men that are viewing this
what
program
have been
today?
said, they just need to recognize that you need not wait until you have signs and symptoms to go and get your health evaluation. That's a take-home message. All right? In the interim, stay healthy. Sleep well, drink enough fluid, balanced meal, and rest. Yeah? And the difference between diagnostic and screening. Screening is evaluation for diseases in asymptomatic people. No signs and symptoms, but just go and do a checkup. Right. That is screening. When you have signs and symptoms, that's diagnostic. So we want you before the diagnostic.
Yes, we want you to do screening.
Before.
We want to thank you, Dr. Sanchez, for joining us today and for blessing us with your knowledge. I'm sure that those that are at home viewing this program today, that they have benefit from the information, and I'm sure that they're going to take these advice and recommendation into consideration so that they may have a better health. Also, we would like to encourage our viewers, if you want to learn more about men's health, women's health, children's health, or any health for that matter, you can visit our Yadpa bookstore that is located at the headquarters of our Belize Union Mission. You can go in, stop in. They have many books on health that you can benefit from. And we also encourage you, if you would like to support the ATN ministry, when you make your purchases of these books, to use the ATN promo code. And that promo code is ATN21. So at this moment, we want to thank you guys for being with us for another edition of Defining Your Health. And we invite you to tune in next Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Amen. Thank you very much.